2025 will be the new era for NASCAR's TV deal, and it will involve some new and former friends. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to an episode of Inside Lines. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We're going to jump right into it. We have two stories to talk about here. However, the first story we're going to talk about is a little bit of an update regarding NASCAR's future plans in terms of the schedule. We know that NASCAR, especially in this era, this new era of NASCAR, they are changing the schedule very much. I mean, from dirt races to street courses, more reliance on the road courses, less so much on ovals, and also on international races. Now, it was mentioned for a large portion of negotiations with the 2024 schedule that NASCAR would return to Montreal and this time bring the Cup Series over to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Also talks about maybe NASCAR going to Mexico. But NASCAR is also eyeing another race, international race, much further south than Mexico and South America, specifically Brazil. Now, as we know that last year, NASCAR announced this new era of, or should say a new extension of their international program by basically taking control of a former Brazil stock car racing series and rebranding it as the NASCAR Brazil Sprint Race. And according to NASCAR executives, because of the rebranding of NASCAR being basically having a series in Brazil, Cup Series ratings rose tremendously in Brazil because in relation to holding a NASCAR Brazil racing series. So much so that Brazil has now been added to the list of potential sites to take the Cup Series in the near future. The Chief International Officer of NASCAR, Chad Siegler, further continued on with this statement about NASCAR potentially taking the Cup Series to Brazil by saying that there is a lot of places, but when we look at it, any of those places we're looking at for Cup or National Series Xfinity and trucks, a logical place for us to look at is one where we already have a presence. So Brazil, the culture there is so strong, similar to Europe, and that there is a strong passion for American style racing. No doubt Brazil is a market you look at really aggressively. Now this is just a small part of NASCAR's much bigger, broader plan to basically world domination. Okay, bit over exaggerating, but basically they're trying to make it so that NASCAR is known more internationally by creating a Champions League style form of stock car racing. So that, as Siegler's group would say, that you basically would take the best of the Euro Series to compete against the best of Mexico, Canada, and Brazil, and have a car that would basically be able to work at whatever international sport. So you can have a car that can work in Canada, work in Mexico, and work in Brazil. And I like this new era of NASCAR is taking their international view of the sport more seriously. I always felt that in the Brian France era in years past that NASCAR had those series in Mexico and in Canada, but it was just like, yeah, we have a series, whatever, do whatever you want. But I like that now that NASCAR has a plan for where they want to take these series instead of just leaving it as it is as a way to maybe improve it as to something bigger. I'm curious to see how that would work. Champion style NASCAR racing, Canada, Mexico, and the Euro Series all in a battle together. It will be interesting to say the least. We already know that NASCAR is doing much more efforts with this international division by having the Mexico Series as a companion race for the Cup Series race in the Los Angeles Coliseum next February. So we know that NASCAR, like I said, is doing more of an effort in an international sense to get more types of drivers and more different types of fans from all around the world invested into NASCAR. Very curious to see where they could take this race, or I should say NASCAR, the global viewpoint of NASCAR, where they take it down the line. And we have another update on NASCAR's 2025 TV deal. And although this has not been confirmed, we do have a really reliable source. Jim Utter from motorsport.com gave an even further insight on what the 2025 TV deal could look like. And like I said, it involves some new partners and former friends. Now, one thing we know for sure that Fox and NBC will return to NASCAR. Unfortunately, NBC looks like will not be getting the Daytona 500. Fox Sports will air the first 14 races of the season. NBC will air the last 14 races of the season. So NBC gets the final 4 regular season races and all 10 of the playoffs. Now, this is interesting. 14, 28 races. There are still another 10 races in the middle. Who takes up that spot? We did say in the last video that was going to be between Amazon and Turner Sports, where it looked like it would be Amazon Prime, maybe, and Bleacher Report Live splitting the races. Well, that's kind of true. According to Jim Utter, Amazon will be getting 5 races in the NASCAR Cup Series. Turner Sports will also be getting 5 races, but it won't be on Bleacher Report Live. According to Jim Utter, it looks like NASCAR will be returning to TNT. And if you watch NASCAR on TNT, you know it's going to bring back a lot of nostalgic feels, especially if you grew up watching the TNT Summer Series. This, I think, at least from what it looks like, it hasn't been officially confirmed yet. There is set to be an announcement Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So later today, we'll probably have an update video about that. That's where we can get maybe into the nitty gritty as to how long the deal is, how much money is in it, and the exact specifics of it. But it looks like it will go for 14 races on Fox, and then 5 races on TNT, 5 races on Amazon Prime, and then you finish off the season with 14 races on NBC. So yeah, one thing, like I said, we don't know, and this is the most important thing, is how much money will it be? The current deal is worth $8.2 billion. That's the deal that we're under right now. That's how much it's worth. Obviously, with Amazon Prime being involved, you know it's going to be a lot more than $8.2 billion. As for how long the TV rights will be, again, that's something we don't know yet until later today at around 5 o'clock when the official announcement takes place. Another thing that we don't know is how would other streaming networks work? For example, would Fox, another thing that we won't know really specifically until the announcement is the cable networks for the existing partners with Fox, FS1, and NBC and the USA Network. They're getting 14 races. NBC is losing 6 Cup Series races. Currently at the moment, they have 20. They're going from 20 to 14. Fox, on the other hand, is going from 16 to 14 races. So they're going to lose 2 races. Are we going to see maybe a similar deal like what we saw from 2007 to 2014, where are all the races going to be on network television? How many are going to be on cable? If you look at it from NBC's perspective, could there be maybe, qualifying? Could that maybe move to Peacock? What is going to be the exact specifications on how will this deal play out? How long will it play out? We know the Xfinity series, that will begin in 2025 and end in 2031. So that's about a 7-year deal. Could this be a similar length? Regardless, if what we're just looking at from a broad scheme of things, Fox, TNT, Amazon Prime, and NBC, I actually like this deal. I think this is a fair to great deal. Let's look at this. All right, TNT. Again, there's that nostalgic part of it. I mean, I love the summer series. For me, that was obviously the time when school was out, so you really got to enjoy that time watching NASCAR races. And even though the coverage wasn't the best, that nostalgic feel is still there. But I'm very curious to see if TNT is really coming back to NASCAR, how will they go about it? Because basically they're going to be having the same amount of races as they did in their previous deal. TNT is expected to run 5 races. The summer series has always been maybe 6 or 7 races. So they kind of haven't lost much. Another thing I'm curious about is during that stretch with TNT and Prime Video, where will be practice and qualifying? Will that also air on TNT? Will that all air on Prime Video? Would Prime and TNT work together? How is all of this going to play out? That's the part I'm very curious about. Also with Prime Video, you're going now to the biggest, really the biggest, most popular streaming platform in America. TNT is the 5th most watched cable channel network in America as well. The only thing that's beating it is Fox News, ESPN, MSNBC, and HGTV. So really the only other competition is ESPN. That's really it. But this is, in my eyes, a really good deal, at least from what it looks like so far, from just a broad perspective. Again, the specifics of it we'll know Wednesday afternoon. But looking at it overall, NASCAR made some really good moves in this. I mean, the Xfinity series got $115 million a year for over-the-air broadcast television with the CW and the Xfinity series. The Cup series, from what I see, looks like they made some really good moves. I didn't want to see 2 streaming platforms. I wanted to just see 1 and the rest be on as many network channels or network races as possible. So I'm glad that NASCAR was able to figure that out, but I'm very curious as to see what the actual specifics of the deal will look like. But what are your thoughts on this announcement? Let me know in the comments section down below. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.